during the remodeling event at Belfort Furniture.
Good morning, America. The Russian Connection. This morning, our exclusive interview from Moscow with President Putin's right-hand man, taking on those accusations about Russia interfering in our election to help elect Donald Trump as the investigation here at home intensifies.
This is not fake news. This is actually what happened to us.
President Trump's former National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn, now offers to testify about his contacts with Russia in exchange for immunity.
Massive inferno, a giant wall of flames taking over this Atlanta interstate, collapsing a bridge during rush hour. Smoke seen for miles, all 5 lanes shut down in both directions, the travel headache that could now last for months, and the investigation this morning, what sparked the blaze? Missing mom mystery. New questions about that so-called supermom who disappeared, then was found on the side of the road with the story about a terrifying abduction. The newly uncovered police reports exposing her past. Accusations from family members that she's faked an attack before. What her family is saying this morning, first on GMA.
And baby, oh baby, the biggest delivery of the year. April the giraffe about to go into labor at any moment. The live stream sensation viewed by millions around the world. We're live with the expected mom at the zoo.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
And good morning, America. The big question, will it be a happy Friday for April the Giraffe?
Oh, well, you know, let's see. But I would say that this may be the most anticipated birth since Prince George. I mean, everyone's watching. The internet is watching.
Internet celebrity April. It's amazing what everyone likes to see. And she could give birth at any moment. All eyes are on April. This is going to be her 4th calf. And we're live at the zoo. Obviously, we have the live shot up right there. And maybe we can catch the birth.
Might be possible. First, we have a lot of news to get to. New developments in that investigation into Russian interference in our election to help elect Donald Trump. Dramatic Senate hearing yesterday. You see right there, we're going to get a response from the Kremlin, from President Putin's top 8. He joins us for an exclusive interview.
And overnight, President Trump's former National Security Advisor, Mike Flynn, making headlines requesting immunity in exchange for testifying about his Russian contacts. Let's go right to our senior White House correspondent, Cecilia Vega, for all the latest. Good morning, Cecilia.
Amy, good morning to you. This White House is frustrated by these Russia stories. They have tried to make them go away, but here we are, another day, another headline about Russia. This one, Michael Flynn's lawyer says he has a story to tell, and he wants to tell it.
President Trump's former National Security Advisor, General Michael Flynn, this morning is back in the spotlight. Fired by the president last month for not fully disclosing his contacts with Russia, now Flynn has offered to testify before at least one congressional committee investigating Russia's role in the election in exchange for immunity. He certainly has a story to tell, and he very much wants to tell it, Flynn's lawyer said in a statement. But he is now the target of unsubstantiated public demands by members of Congress and other political critics that he be criminally investigated. No reasonable person who has the benefit of advice from counsel would submit to questioning in such a highly politicized witch hunt environment without assurances against unfair prosecution. So far, investigators are reportedly unwilling to cut a deal.
We're all targets of a sophisticated and capable adversary.
Those investigations into Russia already underway. In the Senate, a public hearing on the topic. Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle in agreement.
This is not fake news. This is actually what happened to us.
The findings so far, the Russian government used thousands of internet trolls to spread fake news to undermine the 2016 election. Officials say the attack is unprecedented and ongoing.
Aren't we in the midst of a blitzkrieg, for lack of a better term, of informational warfare conducted by Russian trolls under the command of Vladimir Putin, designed to sow instability, pit us against each other as Americans?
The White House denying any connection. And Russian President Vladimir Putin speaking out too. Asked if Russia was involved in U.S. election hacking, he used a famous phrase in American politics to respond.
No.
Read my lips, no.
And that, of course, is a reference to George H.W. Bush's no new taxes quote, a famous broken promise in American history. President Trump recently called this Russian story, George, a hoax.
Thanks, Cecilia. And joining us now from Moscow, Dmitry Peskov, Vladimir Putin's right-hand man. Mr. Peskov, thank you for joining us this morning. We heard President Putin yesterday.
Thank you for inviting me.
We heard President Putin yesterday say, read my lips, there was no interference, Russian interference in the U.S. election. As you no doubt know, that read my lips promise here in America was later overtaken by events. Are you confident that President Putin's denials will not be contradicted by new evidence?
We're quite confident. We're confident for 100%. Actually, this campaign, we've been saying from the very beginning that it was nothing else but slander. And all those fake news having nothing beneath and having no evidence were nothing else but slander. And that's why we'll continue to suggest to everyone insisting that Russia was interfering in this or that way into domestic affairs of the United States, we will suggest them to read Mr. Putin's lips.
One of the conclusions is that Russia was trying to hurt Hillary Clinton and help Donald Trump. You've said yourself that it's natural that Putin would prefer Trump. Why?
It's very simple. Listen, for example, we have a variety of politicians in every country, and we have variety of politicians in the United States. Some of them are saying that we are in favor of reestablishing good relationship with Russia. We think that we have lots of problems, and we are sure that we will not be able to agree upon everything, but we are sure that we have to have a dialogue with the Russians. This is one flank. The other flank is those who say, no, Russians are our enemy, and we are strictly against any contacts with them, and we don't give a damn about their interests, and we reject any possibility of cooperation, even when it is in our own interests, let's say in a field of combating terror. So which one would be more sympathetic for you? For us, the one who is saying that, yes, we disagree in lots of things, but we're going to talk to Russians.
So President Putin
This one is more sympathetic for us.
So
the reason is very simple.
So President Putin did prefer Donald Trump?
No, it's not about preferring someone. It's about whose ideas are more close to you and whose ideas are more welcomed in Russian public opinion.
Public opinion here in the United States about President Putin is quite unfavorable. Only 9% of Americans in a recent poll have a favorable opinion of President Putin. Only 9% see Russia as an ally. Is that a problem for President Putin?
It's not a problem, but this is something that we're sorry about again. We understand those figures because for how many months, for more than a year, American audience have been a target for severe anti-Russian propaganda, and they were, of course, they felt victim of that propaganda, and that's why lots of Americans, they do think that yes, Russian hackers are everywhere. Russian hackers are in every fridge. Russian hackers are in every iron, and so on and so forth. But this is not true. Those are fake news, and this is slander.
We heard overnight that General Michael Flynn, President Trump's former national security advisor, is now seeking immunity to talk to the FBI and also the investigating committees in the Congress. His lawyer says he has a story to tell. Are you concerned about anything he might say about his contacts with Russia?
No, we're not. No, we're not. Listen, we insist that any blamings that Russia could have been interfering in domestic affairs of the United States is slander, and it has no evidence at all. Again, well, we understand pretty well that there are some people who doing their best, their utmost, to keep this issue on the agenda. Well, let them do it before the audience is bored and before they change their subject.
It was rather unusual for President Putin not to retaliate after those sanctions were imposed by President Obama, because he following the conclusions that Russia did interfere in our elections. Did that failure to retaliate have anything to do with the message that General Flynn gave to Ambassador Kislyak?
Well, listen, sanctions or issue of lifting sanctions or imposing sanctions, any promises could not be an issue of those contacts, because none of them, neither Ambassador Kislyak nor General Flynn, could have been involved in decision making. So any exchange of view, I don't know. Naming sanctions, let's remember the let's say the decisions that were taken by the then administration during their last days in the White House. Extradition of Russian diplomats, I would even say occupation of Russian diplomatic property in New York and Washington. This is something that was never seen in diplomatic affairs in the world for lots and lots of decades. Let's imagine a property of the Russian Federation covered with diplomatic immunity was occupied by American Secret Service agents. I mean, well, is it friendly? I'm afraid no. I'm afraid not. And it's not friendly. It's not legal in terms of international law. So, of course, it was a very significant damage for our bilateral relations, organized as a farewell party by the then administration in Washington.
If we're at the lowest point in history, that means we're in a new Cold War.
New Cold War? Well, maybe even worse. Maybe even worse, taking into account actions of the present presidential administration.
Worse than the Cold War?
Well, of course. I've been just saying about this illegal actions against Russian property in Washington and New York, about extraditing Russian diplomats and all that stuff.
Finally, how can U.S.-Russia relations get back on track?
I think if two presidents meet each other, if they exchange views, and if they decide that they want to reestablish a dialogue, then there will be a chance for our bilateral relations to get better.
Mr. Peskov, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
Okay, let's talk about this now with our chief White House correspondent, John Karl. Quite a headline there.
Yeah.
Relations between the U.S. and Russia worse than the Cold War.
Yeah, really something. And I'll tell you, when you asked about the retaliatory steps, the sanctions that Obama placed at the end of his term for the Russian interference in the election, clearly he sees that as worse than what the United States did against Russia during the Cold War, which raises the question, why didn't Russia retaliate? And it seems to me the clear explanation, the plausible explanation, is that they expected that President Trump would undo those sanctions. But it's also interesting, George, that he hasn't done that yet.
And he did not deny that the Ambassador Kislyak and General Flynn talked about the sanctions.
It sounded to me like he was saying they did talk about it.
And there's this whole other side to this Russia investigation. There are now new calls for Congressman Nunes to step aside. Of course, he's the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, amid reports that the White House actually aided him before he took to that press conference right outside the White House.
Well, this is an amazing story. The New York Times has some phenomenal details here. That what the Times reports is that when he went to the White House the day before that press conference, he was aided by two national security officials in the White House. So then the next day, he runs back to the White House to give information that he got from the White House in the first place. It's a very strange episode.
And then we've been hearing a lot from President Trump via Twitter. Actually, he just put out a tweet. Mike Flynn should ask for immunity, and that this is a witch hunt, excuse for big election loss by media and Dems of historic proportion. He also went on to call out members of the Freedom Caucus individually and specifically over his health care loss.
But this immunity tweet is really something else, because during the campaign, Trump and, in fact, Flynn as well, both suggested that the fact that there were people close to Hillary Clinton who were requesting immunity in another case, that was basically an admission of guilt. Only a guilty person would want immunity is actually exactly what Flynn himself said and what Trump himself suggested.
All right, well, there's a lot more to talk about on this, John Carl, and you can see more of George's interview with President Putin's press secretary, and of course you can get the latest on the Russian investigation Sunday on This Week. Michael?
All right, thank you, Amy. We're going to turn now to that massive fire in Atlanta, destroying part of a major interstate so many commuters depend on. The governor now declaring a state of emergency, and ABC's Steve Osunsami is on the scene. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning to you, Michael. We're standing underneath that bridge right now. The firefighters are here putting out hot spots. The bridge inspectors are here trying to see if they could possibly reopen a portion of this, but I can tell you that doesn't look promising. They're poking holes through this thing. But let's take a look at what this looked like last night in the middle of rush hour traffic. Authorities say that PVC pipes under this were burning so greatly, the flames surrounded the highway, and at some point the heat was so great it forced a portion of the highway to collapse. Luckily, no one was hurt, no firefighters were hurt. This is going to create a traffic migraine for residents who live here. I live less than a mile away from here, and my commutes to work will at least double. Michael.
All right, thank you, Steve. That's going to be one travel.
I mean, I lived in Atlanta for 13 years. My parents are there. I'm seeing that, and just, I can't imagine what that is going to be like for the weeks and months to come. All right, we got to move on now to some severe storms spreading across the South and the Midwest, and that snow. Say it ain't so. Moving into the Northeast, Ginger.
It is so. I'm sorry, and I will get to that. But first, I wanted to show you. Well, I don't have much behind me, but I do have images to show you, and perhaps we could take them. That's that water spout in Slidell, Louisiana, up to the hail in Ohio. Well, this is now all moving east, and it's this afternoon and evening that parts of North Carolina, Virginia, even South Carolina have the damaging wind and hail threat. Now that goes into some flash flood potential from New Jersey right through New York City, and then the snow is on the northern side of it, Boston up through parts of interior New England. I will detail that coming up, but for now, let's head back to Michael.
All right, thank you, Ginger. And now to March Madness and the game that so many people are excited for. The Final Four, they're going to face off tomorrow, and TJ Holmes is here to break it all down. Break it down for us.
All right, straight hand. Look here, folks. You know that old adage, right? They say in sports, act like you've been there before. Well, two of these teams, they don't know how to act because they've never been there before. So give them a break. So look, everybody, put up your brackets. You're not going to win the office pool. You already lost. Just sit back because history is on the line with every bounce of the ball this weekend. If North Carolina is Goliath with 5 championships under their belt, South Carolina, well, that's your David of the NCAA tournament. They're the ones who've been messing up your bracket. The Gamecocks hadn't even won a tournament game since 1973, but now they've won 4 in a row, and they're headed to their first ever Final Four.
We knew we had a group of guys that can make this dream come true.
Coach Frigg Martin said their tried and true strategy is to ignore the hoopla.
We're not playing the arena, we're playing Gonzaga, so we have to focus in on doing what we have to do to figure out a way to win that game.
They'll face off with another Final Four newbie, Gonzaga, known for their 7-foot secret weapons, including freshman Zach Collins. Last year, North Carolina's Luke May, he was a walk-on freshman. This year, he not only hit the game-winning shot against Kentucky, solidifying his team's slot in the Final Four, but he also managed a seemingly impossible feat. He made it to his 8 a.m. class the next Monday morning.
It's been pretty cool, and I've kind of embraced it, but we're moving on to Oregon. I'm looking forward to this weekend. Have an opportunity.
All right, 18,797,085 brackets filled out on ESPN.
Is that an actual number?
That's the right number. And
Wow.
657 got the Final Four. So people, you're not alone. Everybody's bracket was busted.
I'm surprised it was that many.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we'll be watching, though. It's still fun to watch. We don't have to win to watch. All right, let's go back to Ginger with strong winds causing problems across the Southwest.
Strong winds, 60 to 97 miles per hour winds in California and right here, Nevada. Baker, California, you can see all the dust that was blown around. Visibility very low. You'll see that through today there and a little farther east in New Mexico through early tomorrow. The weekend getaways now brought to you by Tide Pods.
Another lost sock. Another lost sock. Ever wonder why they leave? the abuse, the mistreatment, the humiliation. It's time to treat them better. Introducing Tide Pods Plus Downy. Treat all your clothes better with Tide Pods Plus Downy. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide.
And a very good morning, meteorologist Brian Vandergraff. Definitely going to be a wet day today. Temperatures near 60. Showers. Could even be a couple of gusty thunderstorms, especially south of the area. It'll be a little bit warmer. Southern portions of Maryland into central Virginia. Definitely a weather alert day. From the morning rush to the evening rush, definitely going to be wet. For tomorrow, clouds eventually will break. Decent day.